Okay, well, let's begin. Just usual warm-up session. So stand with the feet shoulder width apart. Allow the knees to softly bend. Allow the tailbone to draw gently down towards the ground and extend the head up into the blue sky. We bring all of our focus to lower dantian, deep into the belly. From the very core of the body, we're just going to gently turn and look back over the shoulder, do a couple of turns, just soft and gentle, just to check out how the back's feeling, and then we can release into the full exercise. Keeping the knees soft, keeping the back straight. Let's make the turn just come from the very core of your body. It's easy enough to do this exercise by thrusting one shoulder forward and then thrusting the other shoulder forward, but that's entirely kind of missing the point. We're going much more from the very belly, deep inside the core. And as that turns from side to side, that just allows the rest of the body to turn. So the core turns the spine, and gently the spine rotates, moves the shoulders, the arms, elbows, wrists, all move in response to the belly. You can feel as well there's gentle movement through the hips, gentle movement in the knees and ankles. It's a nice, soft way to warm up your body. So today I've been thinking about compassion. It's interesting when we look at the various different religious paths that compassion crops up in a lot of places. It might seem strange to you to think that people don't have compassion. Perhaps that's part of your, DNA, the kind of thing that you've been taught and you teach your children. But to say that some people have to be reminded about compassion is an understatement. I think we look at our politicians, for instance, and wonder where all their compassion went to. How did you get into a business that was about looking after people and then, lose all of your compassion along the way? Not all, but most. There was a shift in society. Oh gosh, I stand too close to the wall. There was a shift in society when I was in my 20s, around the Thatcher and Reagan era, where we were basically told that greed was good. There was a basic sort of idea that everybody should be allowed to have what they wanted. Now, in a universe that is filled with unlimited resources, that should be entirely possible. But unfortunately, we weren't really viewing it from that perspective. We weren't viewing it from the perspective of everybody gets a fair share. We were viewing it from the perspective of, I'll take my slice. And that's very different. And somewhere along the way, that also obviates the need for compassion, perhaps. Compassion became less of a popular subject and more of something that charities were supposed to work with. And charities themselves struggled to understand their kind of place in the whole thing when they had to become businesses. So it's rather a sort of a strange change where we lost our focus on compassion. So yeah, my feeling is that we can remind ourselves about compassion, and it comes pretty much from the theme of last week when I was talking about how we talk to ourselves. You know, if you had a friend who talked to you like that, you'd never speak to them again, but you're prepared to give yourself a dressing down, treat yourself unkindly again and again. So this speaks of lack of compassion for oneself. And so where can compassion possibly come from if it doesn't come from you looking at you in a compassionate way in the first place? It's difficult for you to be compassionate about other people and cruel to yourself. It's like building your compassion on a castle filled with based on sand. And so, yeah, we have to start with compassion for self. So I'm using a tool today which I found that came from Berkeley in America, famous university. And it was done in a typical sort of scientific way. Look at all the different compassion practices and then find out what works well and dissolve them back into one tool. And I've, you know, you can tell that I feel slightly kind of, suspect about that. But actually, I feel that what they've done is really powerful. And so I think that they've looked at many different compassion practices and really cherry-picked the best path through it. And so this is not my tool, I must admit. It's something that I've used before and talked about before, but it comes from their armory. You can find it online. I can send you a link, but we'll work through it ourselves today. And as per usual, we'll just use a standard standing posture, if possible. But why not put a chair behind you if you wish to sit? That's also fine. Okay, so let's just go into the second phase of this exercise. Slow down a little bit and gently open up the exercise. Stretch the spine and stretch the neck a little bit more. So when the backs become conditioned to this gentle turn, you can just not exceed it, just kind of increase it a little bit, move a little bit more deeply into the exercise. Looking backward. As always, if this exercise makes you feel dizzy, just gently, gently allow everything to center down in your belly. Focus your mind down into lower dantian, and then focus your mind beyond that, down into your toes. Squeeze your toes against the ground, grip the earth, feel your connection through the ball of your foot. Very soon, everything will start to settle out again. And now we're about to move on to the pulling down, which helps calm that as well. So just let everything slow down here, gently, gently come to a stop, bit by bit. No point in hurrying to stop. You can just stop and let the body relax. Sometimes you'll feel this lovely internal movement as well. Just let that relax. Let's gather some chi, lift chi up. Pull chi down. Imagine moving the energy out of the head, down into the chest, deep into the belly. So when we feel dizzy, we get this kind of excess energy in the head, and we can just rebalance by taking the excess energy, moving it back down deep into the belly. Okay, now we're just going to lift the hands up. We'll do some gentle forward bends as we gather chi up, lift up. gently go into a comfortable forward bend. So the arms and ears tip over. And start to work your way down, gently relaxing, settling and sinking. Whole body relaxes. Back of the neck relaxes. Okay, now extend softly down towards your toes and release. Imagine a line that's drawn between the roots of your toes. Stretch towards that and release. Imagine a line that's drawn between your insteps. Stretching gently towards that. We release. Finally, imagine a line at your heels. Stretch back towards that or let yourself go as deep as you wish to go. Body relaxes and hangs. Tailbone can lift up behind. Tailbone gently pushes to the front. Spine rolls up. Head, arms, and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Releasing the knees and the hips forward as you lean back. Stretching up. Gently lean back. Up and back. Up and back. Hands into the blue sky. Allow the left hand to curl gently down towards the back of the left knee. Right hand goes down. Allow the left side of the body to open. On the left. And on the right. Draw the hands up into the blue sky. Arms and ears gather together. We're going to tip those over. Gently tipping those over. The back stays straight until the arms are parallel to the floor, and then we continue to arc down. Gently rolling down. Sink and settle. Allow the body to relax. Back of the neck releases and relaxes. Extend softly towards your toes and release. Toward the roots of your toes. Release. Work towards your insteps. And release. Work towards your heels, deep bend. Release and relax. Lift the tailbone up behind. Push the tailbone to the front. Roll the spine up. Head, arms, and ears come up as one. Draw up, stretch up. Allow the knees and hips to gently go forwards as you lean back. Stretch up and back. Stretching up. Gently back. Up and back. Hands up into the blue sky. Curl the left hand down. Stretching towards the back of the left knee. Down on the right. On the left. And on the right. Draw the right hand up. Okay, so the whole exercise with straight legs now if possible. Lock the knees straight. Tip over the head, the arms, the ears. Let the body gently roll down. Sink and settle. Back
Back of the neck relax. Keep the legs straight, let the arms hang. You can gently shift the weight towards the tips of the toes. Just let the back of the legs stretch open. Okay, so we can sink softly towards the toes and then release. Work toward the root of your toes. Release. Work towards the insteps. And release. Back toward the heels. Okay. Body relaxes and hangs. Tailbone lifts behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine rolls up. Head, arms, and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Knees and hips forward as you lean back. Stretch up. Gently back. Up. Back. Up. Back. Hands into the blue sky. Allow the left hand to curl down. Allow the right hand to gently curl down. On the left. And on the right. Bring the right hand up into the blue sky. Last time through this process then, so nice straight legs. Just tip over the head, the arms, the ears. Keeping the legs straight. Working gently down. Just let the body hang there. So we allow the body to hang. We keep the legs as straight as we can. Release the back of the neck. Gently hang down. Hamstrings open. Back of the knees open. Okay, so let's make our first gentle extension towards our toes. And release. In line with the roots of our toes. And release. In line with our insteps. And release. And then working our way back towards our heels as deep as we can go. Body relaxes and hangs. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine gently rolls up. Head, arms, and ears roll up. Stretch. Knees and hips forward as you lean back. Stretching up. And gently back. Up. And back. Up. And back. Hands up into the blue sky. Left hand curls down. Right hand gently down. Down on the left. And down on the right. Draw the hands up above the head. Allow the chi to pour for a few moments. Release the hands down the sides. Let's gather chi. So we go deep in the earth and lift chi up. And we pour the chi down. Draw the chi down. Move the energy deep inside. Gently allowing the chi to flow down the legs into the earth. Let's go again.
move the energy deep inside. Gather it down to the belly. The next time you gather chi, if you're feeling stable, just bring your hands back to the belly. You can keep going with this exercise, 5, 10 times if you're feeling slightly wobbly. Doesn't matter how long. But also, just be aware of how you're feeling. This exercise is quite powerful, so it can really bring your energy down. Let your energy, go back to your belly. Let the body settle, but don't knock yourself out with it. It's used for lowering blood pressure in China, this exercise. And if you do it with fervor 5 or 10 times, 5 times a day, I think the prescription is 12 times, 5 times a day, you can really lower your blood pressure using your intention as well. But actually the side effect of that is that you can, if you have a low blood pressure, you can make yourself pass out. So just be careful. Let the hands settle on the belly. We focus our mind behind our hands. All of our attention goes deep inside. Mind often likes to flit away, go off to tasks, shopping, washing, whatever has to be done. But try and keep the mind here. Try and keep the mind steady. Try and keep the mind deep in the belly. Lower Dantian Qi, gathering, becoming abundant. Blood and Qi flowing well through your body. Knees softly bent, back nice and straight. Chin's drawn in, tailbones tucked forward. Whole body relaxes. Okay. So as we stand here, just find a connection from lower dantian, down your legs, through your feet, down into the earth below. Imagine connecting out into the blue sky beyond that, connecting out into the universe beyond that. When we move energy upwards, we draw the chi. It's like sap rising, this gentle energy coming up. Imagine it arrives at the sole of your foot, penetrates in through Yongquan. So the kidney point sits just behind. If you go from the tip of the middle toe and work along the sole of your foot to where the middle toe kind of joins onto the foot, and then go over the lump of your ball of your foot, and then just before you start approaching the center of the foot, that's where Yongquan is. So if you were to split your foot into thirds, it would be a line across the first third and the middle section of the middle toe, where they join, just behind the ball of the foot. That would give you Yongquan. And as you sort of bend your knee, you can feel Yongquan press against the earth. So the more we keep our knees bent, the more we're sort of contacting with this point. And you can feel the process. As you bend your knees, the weight will shift a little bit forward. So you can now feel your toes pressing, you can feel the ball of the foot pressing, but the heel gets a little bit lighter. So this is the description, 60% toes, 40% heels. But as we bend our knees and sink into our knees, that just stimulates Yongquan, the kidney point. So I often describe Yongquan, in fact, as a class, we went up to have tea after class at this marvelous kind of furniture shop, cafe in Bath. And sitting outside, they had a beautiful water feature, a beautiful round stone, and in the middle a hole, and the water was bubbling up through the center of this hole. Little sort of, not quite a fountain, but a kind of like a spout of water just gently coming up through the center of the hole, splashing back down onto the rock. That's exactly how I see Yongquan. Imagine the qi bubbling up through the center of this point on the foot and entering into your body. So it's like a spring of water bubbling in through the sole of your foot. And they actually call it the bubbling wellspring of life. So just concentrate on this idea of qi bubbling in through the sole of your foot. We're going to just imagine the path of qi, moving through the center of the foot, through the center of the ankle, up the center of your calves, through the center of your knee, up the center of your thighs. And then it branches across to Huiyin, which is between your legs. So Huiyin is an acupuncture point, sits between the genitalia and the anus. It's right there on the perineum. So all this qi is kind of collecting upwards up both legs to this point at the perineum, and then gently lift Huiyin up. So it's just gently tightening and lifting between the legs and imagining this flow of qi flowing on up to the lower energy field. Gathering qi through the legs, filling this lower energy field. At the other extreme, we think about Bai Hui on top of the head. If you imagine taking a line up the front of your ears, up onto the top of the head, and then moving a couple of fingers forward, we sit right on the crown of the head. So think about this point, Bai Hui on top of your head. When we're adjusting our spine, we gently tuck the tailbone forward. So if you think about the lower back, it hollows. But when you tuck your tailbone forwards, the lower back straightens just a tiny bit. So it's no longer quite as curved in. This is called the cervical curve. And so by tucking the tailbone forwards, we slightly straighten our cervical curve. It's not called the cervical curve, it's called the lumbar curve. Sorry. Okay, getting ahead of myself. So when we tuck the tailbone forward, we straighten our lumbar curve. Work up the spine, up to the top, and just where your back turns into your neck and then it goes up into your skull, there's a gentle curve there, and that's the cervical curve. But by moving your chin slightly backwards towards your spine, you start to straighten out that cervical curve. So tailbone tucks forward, chin draws backward, Bai Hui lifts. And suddenly the spine is as straight as it's ever going to be. And the interesting thing about doing this is that if you were to look at yourself sideways in a mirror, you'd now discover that Bai Hui is sitting beautifully, well, clearly Bai Hui sits beautifully above the center of the upper energy field because the two of them are right beside each other. But now the upper energy field is aligned with the middle energy field, is aligned with the lower energy field. So from Bai Hui on top of your head, we can imagine opening up this beautiful satellite dish. I can never get a better image than that. It's like a satellite dish on top of your head, opening up to the blue sky, allowing your thoughts to be transmitted back up into the ether, and then allowing the responding thoughts to come back down through your Bai Hui. I suppose the image is modern, but it works. So we have this idea of the qi pouring down through Bai Hui, pouring down into the center of your brain, center of your head. So Upper Dantian, this energy field that sits in the core of your head and fills your whole head, stimulates everything in there. Stimulates your brain, stimulates the nervous system, the optical nerves, the sensory systems, the taste and the smell, hearing, sight. We get all of these senses, our brain stimulated as we allow Upper Dantian to glow with qi. So from the center of the brain, which is about the pituitary or the pineal, you can imagine dropping straight down, going down through your throat, dropping down into the center of your chest. now perfectly aligned because you've tucked your chin back. So that perfect drop down into the center of the chest. There's a point behind your breastbone. I think it nestles kind of behind the stomach, near the heart. It's all kind of tangled up around there. It's an energy field right in the very core of you. This is the energy field that supplies chi out into your lungs, to your heart, to your spleen and pancreas, to your liver, to your kidneys, to all the minor supporting organs as well. So if you know your Chinese medicine, you know the heart is paired with the small intestine, the lungs with the large intestine, kidneys and bladder, liver and gallbladder, spleen, pancreas, and stomach. So when we take the shorthand of filling up the 5 major organs, all the minor organs benefit too. And so by filling middle dantian, this is the reserve, the reservoir of energy for all of those organs. They have their own chi stored deep inside, but when you fill up the kind of reserve pond, as it were, then any chi that's required for your organs comes straight from this middle dantian. We can connect down from the middle dantian, straight down to the lower dantian. So if you think about it, there's this energy line that's coming up from Huoyin between your legs through lower dantian, this energy point that's coming down from Bahui all the way down through the center of the body. So there's a central axis right through your body, Baihui to Huoyin, Huoyin to Baihui, with the 3 energy fields studded along it. Allow the chi to flow with ease through this central corridor of energy. The 3 dantians sharing chi, the 3 dantians transforming chi into whatever's needed. The earth energy surging up, the heaven energy pouring down. This perfect system. So now we can let our hands relax down by our sides. As you relax the hands down, just feel into your palms. So if you wish to, you can curl your middle finger right over so it touches the center of your palm. When you're touching the center of your palm, you're pretty much touching Lao Gong. You can release that. So Lao Gong right in the very core of your palm. I hate to bring up the subject of crucifixion when we're in such a sort of soft place, but you can imagine how powerful it is when these points are attacked on your hands and exactly the same points on your feet. There's no mistaking why that happened. People have known about these energy points for many years. So deep in the core of your hand is Lao Gong, and of course healers use it to move energy around other people's bodies. Just by moving the hands over, Lao Gong is kind of projecting chi out. But Lao Gong is also on the back of your hand as well. So if you imagine all the way through, you can imagine a kind of cone of energy coming to a point at Lao Gong on the back of your hand, and a cone of energy coming to the point on the base of your hand. The palm of your hand. So we have these wonderful energy points, front and back of the hand, Lao Gong, gathering energy from nature around you. Okay, so Dr. Pang doesn't really make a differentiation between nature chi, heaven chi, earth chi. It's a pretty old system, the idea of nature chi, earth chi, and heaven chi. But I quite like it. It gives us something to focus on. And so if you start to imagine, the trees around you and the earth and the birds and the bees and the rest of life, that also has its own chi. We can start to absorb this chi that's in the field around us, in through the palm of your hands. So gathering this chi through the center of the palms, imagine that it comes in through the center of your wrist. Allow this chi to move up the center of your arms, through the center of your elbows, through the center of your upper arms, up to your shoulders. On top of your shoulders, there's a point. Imagine a point between the tip of your shoulder and the center of your spine, halfway along. So divide your shoulder in half, and on top, there's an acupuncture point there. It's called Jianjing. Jianjing translates as the shoulder well. In exactly the way you'd expect, a well, like a well dug deep in the ground. Sometimes you see on people's shoulders a kind of a divot, a kind of like a hole in the top of their shoulders. That's Jianjing. It literally is a shoulder well. And so the qi gathers at that point and then starts its journey down through the center of the chest into the middle dantian. And then from the middle dantian, that too pours down to lower dantian. So now we have these 5 channels of qi coming up through the legs, coming down from the heavens, coming in from the arms. All of it centers deep into the lower dantian. This vast energy collecting. And just to finish off that thought, when I say that Dr. Pang doesn't really make a differentiation between earth qi, heaven qi, nature qi, he basically takes a step back beyond that and says, don't forget that everything is made from Hunyuan qi. Hunyuan qi is this vast universal energy, fills our bodies, fills our world, fills the space around our planet, fills our galaxy. It fills the galaxies beyond. It fills the whole entirety of our universe. This extraordinary energy that we can call upon to heal ourselves. So his point is, why limit yourself to earth energy, heaven energy, nature energy? So it doesn't really matter. Everything is universal qi. We're gathering in. And if you'd like to think of heaven and earth, you like to think of nature supplying qi, why not? If it feels good to you, let it happen. If you like to think of the idea of the entire universe channeling its energy into your body, that too can be the case. So now we can just hold a ball of qi in front of the belly. You can have your hands on the belly, just holding a little ball of qi. This is a kind of beginner's posture, and it's much easier just to sustain. When you have the hands together, there's a certain sort of support for the elbows and shoulders, keeps the upper body in place. When we release the hands, sometimes the weight of the hands hanging in front can create a pain between your shoulder blades. You can always lift the center of your chest up to ameliorate that. So you have to find a position that will work for you. And quite clearly, sitting down holding a ball, lying down holding a ball, completely lying down in any posture, not holding a ball, doesn't matter. So the Chinese practice of standing Qigong, as we're doing, is about gathering the maximum amount of qi into your body. But we also have to realize that not everybody is able to sustain this. Okay, one final word. The soles of the feet. Sometimes when you do your standing practice, you can feel like the soles of your feet on fire. How can anybody stand like this for so long? It's so painful on the soles of my feet. Well, the truth is that when you first begin, that can often happen. We're just not used to standing for a long time unmoving. Don't worry, it goes away. Dr. Pang often rather cheekily used to say, nobody died from doing standing practice. So think, oh, right, okay. Yeah, but sometimes it feels painful in your feet. But actually, just try and draw your mind away. Try and draw your mind back into the belly. Try and come back home into lower dantian. Hey, if you need to move your feet, just move them. Don't destroy your practice by suffering. No need. Give the feet a little shift around. Begin again. You find the periods you can do it for become longer and longer. It just evolves. One day you won't even think about your feet. One day you'll hear me say something about the feet and you'll think, oh God, yeah, I remember that. That used to happen to me. Never mind. So as we stand here, we stand in this beautiful quiet state. Mind is gentle. Mind is hopefully in the dantian. Relaxed and even, happy, gentle. So we do our loving kindness, compassion. We're just going to gently employ our mind for a while. Just use a little visualization for the mind, a little mantra. So picture someone who is very close to you, someone toward whom you have a great amount of love. Picture this person strongly. Feel the love for them. And just gently notice how this love feels in your heart. Notice the sensations around your heart. Perhaps you can actually feel a sensation of warmth, openness, tenderness. Continue gently breathing and focusing on these feelings as you visualize your loved one. As you breathe out, imagine you're extending a golden light that holds your warm feelings from the center of your heart. Imagine the golden light reaches out to your loved one. Bring them peace and happiness. Allow this energy to extend to them. We're just going to recite some gentle words. I'll say the line, and then you can say it afterwards. May you have happiness. May you be free from suffering. May you experience joy and ease. May you have happiness. May you be free from suffering. May you experience joy and ease. Extend the golden light to your loved one's heart, from your heart to their heart. Feel with all your heart that you wish your loved one happiness and freedom from suffering. Allow yourself to think of a time when this person was suffering. Maybe they experienced illness or injury or a difficult time in their relationship. So just focus into that moment. Notice how you feel when you think of their suffering. How does your heart feel? Do the sensations change? Perhaps there are new sensations, perhaps aches. Visualize your loved one as you gently breathe. Continue extending the golden light from your heart to your loved one. And that golden light is easing their suffering. Extend the light out to them during your exhalation with a strong, heartfelt wish that they might be free from their suffering. Repeat after me. May you be free from this suffering. May you have joy and happiness. May you be free from this suffering. May you have joy and happiness. Again, check into your heart. See how it feels. What happened? Did anything change? Can you still feel warmth and happiness and openness, tenderness? Just remember to keep that strong wish that they may have joy and happiness and be released from suffering. So then we turn this around. Contemplate a time when you have suffered yourself. Perhaps having been in conflict with someone you care about, or not managed to succeed in something you wanted. Perhaps a time when you were physically ill. Notice how you feel when you think about your own suffering. How does your heart feel? Can you feel this open and tenderness? Perhaps there's an aching sensation. Just as we wish for our loved one's suffering to end, we wish that our own suffering would end. We can envision our pain and suffering leaving us so that we may experience total happiness. Visualize yourself as you breathe. Imagine the golden light emanating from your heart is easing your own suffering. Each breath out, feel the light emanating from in you with a strong, heartfelt wish that you be free from your suffering. Say after me, may I be free from this suffering. May I have joy and happiness. May I be free from this suffering. May I have joy and happiness. Again, check in with your heart. See how your heart feels. Did it change? Perhaps it's different in sensation from the way it was when you were thinking of your loved one. Did you really wish to release yourself from this deep suffering? Just sit with this sensation for a few moments. Now, we visualize someone who we neither like nor dislike, someone who you may see in your everyday life, such as a colleague, a bus driver, a stranger you pass on the street. Well, you might not be familiar with this person, but think of how they might suffer in their own life. They might have their own conflicts with loved ones. their struggle with addictions, illnesses. Imagine this person and imagine how they might have suffered. Notice your heart center once again. How does it feel? Can you feel warmth and open tenderness? Are there any other sensations like aching? Does your heart feel different when you're working with yourself or your own loved one? Continue to visualize this person as you breathe. Extend this golden light from your heart to them. The golden light is easing their suffering. Extend this light out. Every time you exhale, strong, heartfelt wish that they be free from suffering. See if this wish can be as strong as your own wish or your loved one's wish. Silently recite to them, may you be free from this suffering. May you have joy and happiness. May you be free from this suffering. May you have joy and happiness. Again, notice your heart. Sensations in your heart. So now we come to the more difficult part. Compassion for an enemy. Visualize someone with whom you've had difficulty in your life. A parent or a child with whom you've had disagreements, boyfriends, girlfriends, partners, co-workers. Just visualize a person who has caused conflict in your life. Although you may have negative feelings towards this person, think of how this person has suffered in their own life. They may also have had conflicts with loved ones, or they've had to deal with failure or suffered illness. Think of a situation where this person may have suffered. Sometimes you might have difficulty in trying to alleviate this person's suffering, but try and think of some positive interaction you've had with them. Something that will help you to wish them joy and happiness. A moment when perhaps you laughed with them. Let's just think about this. Notice your heart center. Notice how it feels. How different it might be to when we were thinking about a loved one. Even so, continue to visualize this person as you breathe. Imagine you're extending golden light from your heart to them. The golden light is easing their suffering. Extend the light out to them during your exhalation. Strong, heartfelt wish that they be free from their suffering. See if this wish can be as strong as the wish for your own loved one's suffering. And recite, may you be free from this suffering. May you have joy and happiness. May you be free from this suffering. May you have joy and happiness. May you be free from this suffering. May you have joy and happiness. Check into your heart. Feel your heart open. Feel the joy and love deep inside your heart. Feel the compassion. Now we draw towards the end of this meditation. Let's end with a wish for all beings to be relieved from suffering. Just as I wish to have peace and happiness and to be free from suffering, so do all beings. Just as I wish to have peace, happiness, and to be free from suffering, so do all beings. Just bask in the joy of this open-hearted wish to ease the suffering of all people, and how this brings happiness and compassion into your heart at this very moment. Heart open, joy and happiness flowing. Gently draw a ball of chi back towards your belly. And let the hands form a little ball of chi. Sits on the belly. All this energy gathering deep inside. Chi flowing upwards, chi pouring downwards, chi gathering inwards, chi focusing deep into lower dantian. We've used this visualization to increase our levels of compassion for our loved ones, for ourselves, for strangers, for people who we don't particularly like, for people from all around the globe. One little drop in the pond, but the ripples ripple out from you, out across the universe. You create this compassionate moment in time and expand it out throughout all of humanity. At the same time, we heal ourselves. We change the ability of our heart. We upgrade our heart. We open our heart. We release pain, dis-ease, suffering. And in its place, we bring in true joy and happiness into our lives, into our loved ones' lives. Feel this joy and happiness through every cell of your body. Gently draw the hands into the prayer position. Bring them up in front of the heart. Step on chi to close the feet together, back into the Zheneng standing posture. Draw the hands gently up in front of the face, up over the crown of the head. Extend up into the blue sky. Let the hands drift down a little bit and the knees soften. We open up. Little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers, split the hands apart into a great wide arc. Gently down to shoulder height. Gathering chi. Draw the chi round to the front and extend the chi deep inside. Upper dantian chi is abundant. Blood and chi flowing well. Abundance deep inside. All functions of the brain returning to perfect working order. Drifting the elbows back, let the hands drift under the arms, lightly touch Da Bao. Send chi deep inside. Middle dantian. The chi is abundant. The chi flows through our organs. The chi flows through the organ systems. Everything working well. All functions normal. Drifting the hands backwards. The back of the hands move forwards. We turn the palms over with a little flourish, send a wave of chi out into the blue sky, and then gently draw this chi back towards lower dantian. Gather the chi back. Gather it deep inside the belly. Hold the chi. Settle the chi. Lower dantian chi is abundant. Blood and chi flowing well. An abundance of energy deep inside. Allow this chi to flow down through your legs to your feet, up your spine to your brain. Fill the whole of your body, torso, shoulders, down to your arms, down to your fingertips, neck and head. Whole of the body, an abundance of chi, blood and chi flowing well. All of the functions of your body returning to perfect working order. Let's gently draw 3 circles round lower dantian. This just attracts any excess chi back into the core. Gives us a sign that we're willing to close down. Let's go back in the opposite direction. Hold all the chi inside, store it, keep it here, deep inside. Lower dantian chi, abundant, blood and chi flowing well. All functions returning to perfect working order. As you stand here, imagine your wei chi layer around you. It's an inch of chi round your skin, protective layer, and around that your chi body. Meter around you. Feel this incredible shield of chi, but it connects you, protects you. And inside you, a chi being, every cell in your body, filled with chi, a being of light inside this shield of energy, safe, happy, content. Big smile on your face. Let the hands relax down by your sides. Let's gently move the fingers. Let's gently stretch out the body. Move the toes. Give a little shake out. And then it's time for us to say Hao La. So Hao La means good already. Everything we've done already sorted. So if you'd like to unmute yourselves, we'll say Hao La together. Very good. So hands up in the air. 1, 2. Hao La. 1, 2. Hao La. 1, 2. Hao La. Oh, lovely. Well, we make a little salute for ourselves. Right hand facing up, left hand on top, and then you pull the fingers together and seal with your thumbs. Thank you very much for being here today. Really nice to be working with you guys. Have a lovely day.
Jeremy. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.